Oh, Heavenly Father, give us the grace to do the right thing for Alcona County and the citizens. Amen. Pledge allegiance. Oh, please.
Thompson.
Here.
Gauthier.
Here.
Brady.
Here.
Brumman. Here. Schmaltz.
Here. Accept the motion to approve minutes from August 17th. So moved. I know. Second by Bill, second by Terry. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Next up, do we have anything to add? Don't think so, right? Closed session. Closed session. We're gonna add a closed session. Help me out here, guys.
Check on there.
It is.
After public comment.
Mine is, there's nothing to say.
All right, well,
My other one did. That's what did my email say. This is also.
all right. So now we're adding it though?
What is it for?
Okay.
Don't you want to add closed session?
Yes,
Yeah, okay, so let's do it after, or after the second public comment.
Yeah.
Closed session for union info, yes? Is that what it's for? Yeah. Okey dokey,
The new business for 267.
new business for 267. So on our new business. Changes to the 267 fund. Do those as finance.
Yeah.
I would ask the investment on going to forward.
We're gonna do it.
We'll do that.
Thanks.
Sure. Okay, then, if that's it, moving on to public comment, 3 minutes, please, and state your name and your township.
I'll start so I can go back to work. Troy, Equalization Director.
Yep.
Just to let you know that the assessors are working hard and they're gonna be raising like 20% assessed values. Just to give you guys some awareness that you might have some happy people coming this year. So just let you know that. Another thing is I'll probably talk to, we're getting the commissioners, we need to sign out there because they're coming to our office. They don't know where the commissioners room is. I'll talk to Dave Hanson about that, but they are constantly coming to our room wanting to know where the commissioner's room is. So I'll talk to Dave if that's okay.
That's fine.
Well, I just wanted to let you know that assessors are gonna be raising their assessed values by 20%. Just so you're aware of that.
It doesn't raise the tax value.
Only on transfers.
Yeah, and transfers.
And transfers, but just so you're aware, so if you have somebody calling you, you're aware of what's happening. So otherwise, that's a. Yeah.
Okay, who's next? Looks like nobody. We have anybody online that needs public comment today? Would like, I should say. Well, nothing online. All right. Moving on. Presentations, Jennifer.
Good afternoon.
First, Jennifer, I want to apologize to you because I think 2 weeks ago you emailed me trying to put the meeting together. But that didn't find it.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
It's never came to fruition.
No, it's okay. Thank you. Just wanted to address the board today. We need to get chairman's signature for the child care fund budget is actually due this month. And they have approved everything as far as the submission to the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. This is our last step. We had to get budget signature, we had to get your signature, and we had to get the acting director, and then the HHS. The only real change from last year is any personnel changes that the board may have made for their expenses as far as personnel. If there, like last year, there was a 2% increase that Kendra Ranger would have received, so that would be a change that's on there. Any costs that they noticed through the budget as far as retirement or anything along those lines, there are changes, the only changes on there. And the only other new service that we're providing is we contracted with the Bridges of Northern Michigan for trauma counseling for our youth. So that's the only changes from last year, and basically I'm asking the board better to have the chairman sign too. Unless you have any questions.
Everybody else, any questions?
Would you like to have that motion now or under the business to approve? Authorizing.
We can do it now.
I would so move in to authorize the chair on the child care budget summary for 23.
What's my?
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call.
Small,
Yes.
Gothier,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes,
Reggie,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
I'm ready for you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Easy. Next up. Unfinished business. ARPA reporting. Okay, you have the floor, sir.
All right, we had a ARPA meeting on August the 22nd. Everybody's got a set of minutes in front of them. All members were present. On the first order of business was a presentation by John Harvey regarding the new antivirus equipment needed. John spoke to us on that on the 22nd, I believe. We tabled it there at the meeting whenever we had that meeting and explained to us what was needed. We had a motion by Bill Thompson, second by Scott Stevenson, to recommend the purchase of the new equipment to the Board of Commissioners. The cost was $15,916.20. And there was a unanimous vote in favor of. So I'd like to make a motion that we approve the purchase of our new antivirus equipment needed in the amount of $15,916.20.
Support. Moved and supported. Dan and Bill. Any other information or anybody have any comments or questions? All right, hearing none, let's do a roll call.
Reggie,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Gothier,
Yes.
Brumman,
yes,
Small.
Yes.
Our second discussion is regarding the record keeping of our ARPA funds and expenditures. All the reporting that's needed. Cheryl did our first report that was needed on her own. There's a lot of work to it. We had some discussion about it, and there was a motion by Tom Weichel and second by Scott Rice to pay Cheryl Franks $1,500 per year for administration of the fund, including record keeping, filing, reports, etc. There's a vote unanimous in favor of. It is the ARPA Committee's recommendation to the Board of Commissioners to approve this expenditure. ARPA funds will cover this expense, and ARPA funds covered the expense of the first motion to on the new antivirus equipment.
I would so move to approve the record keeping of the ARPA funds by Treasurer Franks
Support.
as a non-15.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion? Every grant has monies in it for administration, so it's not right about. All right, well, let's do a roll call.
Brumman,
Yes,
Thompson,
Yes.
Reggie,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Gothier.
Yes. Our third discussion was regarding the proposal for Connect Nation. Everybody got that report for that proposal for the first time for the review. Our EDC committee strongly recommends hiring them as our broadband consultant. We're forwarding their proposal to the Board of Commissioners for their review, and we're also waiting for the LOI to be signed by PING. And Doug Cheek is here, and he'll talk about this proposal at a later time in the meeting today. Our fourth order of business was a request from Alcona County Road Commission discussing regarding their proposal asking for ARPA funds in the amount of $579,750 for funding road projects in Alcona County. There was a committee's opinion that monies were designated for broadband and there were no other monies available for such a large project. And then number 5, discussion regarding the monies allocated for broadband, and that amount should be voted on our next commission commissioners meeting, $500,000 have been recommended by the ARPA committee. So I would like to make a motion. I'll type it up somewhere. Oh. The ARPA committee recommends that upon approval of our LOI and MOU with PIE&G regarding the installation of broadband internet service for Alcona County, that $500,000 be allocated from the ARPA funds. We have, in our meeting minutes, we have approved the consideration to be paid to PIE&G by Alcona County not to exceed $1 million. But we feel it's necessary that we have the $500,000 allocated from our funds once we get all the formal paperwork and that and start moving forward with PIE&G. That's my motion.
Support. Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Well, a lot more information.
Yes.
Coming up in the next.
Right, this basically what we're doing is saying we're
We're
setting aside $500,000 of our ARPA funds. If indeed this all goes through with PIE&G and we move forward with this complete project, that money is available.
Get some broadband.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do a roll call.
Gothier,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Reggie.
Yes.
The meeting was adjourned at 2:58 PM. That's it.
Thank you. Moving on.
Chairman,
Yes.
if I may, I think respectfully, I would like to move that, based on recommendation from our ARPA committee, that we decline to fund the from road commission as requested, they need a response. Not just the.
Okay. That's your motion. Moved and supported. Carolyn and Bill. Any further discussion? Better roll call that one too.
Small,
Yes.
Reggie,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes.
Gothier,
Yes.
Thompson.
We have a letter that was made for you to need us for approval to go back to the road commission.
You have a letter to sign?
Right here.
And they'll be, I need a motion for you to sign that.
Is that kind of what we just did?
We didn't include the letter.
Yeah.
They're on.
I'll make a motion. We authorize the chairman to sign the letter to the road commission leading a position.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Wish it, everybody name behind.
Bill gets it,
Oh,
he gets the date.
I get the brunt of that one. All right, moving on to claims then. Yes,
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve the pre-authorized claims and open claims presented for payment between August 17th, 2022 and September 6th, 2022 for check numbers 148424 to 148589 and e-check numbers 193 to 194 for a grand total of $1,514,690.63.
Second.
we were seconded. That's the big one. Any comments, questions? I paid my tax.
Yep.
All right, we'll do a roll call.
Gothier,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes.
Reggie,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes. Next, oh.
If I may, I can explain, there's 896,000 sent to the state of Michigan for collection of property tax for the state of Michigan, for the state education. Fund. So that was a big chunk of what we did.
Thanks. Next up, the BEA firm for the Veterans Association or Committee.
want to do the 267 fund for?
Sure.
Finally,
Yeah, it's not finance report time, but we had a bunch to.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, this way.
that's fine. You might have forgotten.
Okay, so the last meeting we spoke, Leonard brought forward a firm to do a environmental study on a piece of property in Lincoln for their targeted location. But the bottom line, right?
Austin Smith.
1,800 today.
Oh, there we go.
For phase one.
Phase, okay, services provided hourly unit cost basis as stated in the attached schedule. Will complete the phase one assessment for a cost of $1,800 to $1,950, not to exceed.
And how much was phase two, Tony?
$1,000.
So it's like $2,000.
All said and done, $3,000. Okay. We got any motions you want to make?
I haven't read it yet.
Oh, you just got this today.
Well, he told us last week.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve. Sagasser and Associates for the phase one environmental site assessment. At 307 South Second Street in Lincoln
And phase two.
and phase two. I made the motion. Support, moved and supported. How about discussion?
I'll start off with my discussion. I can tell you that I will not approve this, the motion. I've done some talking with this discussion with the district health department on that site regarding a new well, what's gonna be required for a well there. It's gonna be extensive because, as Bill found out, and Bill can talk about it, that there is contamination within 300 feet of that site. And that's just one project. That's just the well. I talked to Dennis Krutland. They think the old septic tank tied to the sewer systems there, but they're not sure. I just feel that there is no way Elkhorn County wants to get involved with a piece of property that has contamination or is near contamination and is gonna have extensive building costs to try to build something there, that everything's gonna be required as far as anytime that there's disturbed, isolation from vapors, all kinds of stuff, well testing every year. I mean, Elkhorn Motors pays over $1,000 a year to have the wells tested every year. They're a little bit different. They have more employees, but it's still, there's stuff that has to be done because it's gonna be all kinds of new construction. And it is my opinion that Elkhorn County does not need to be involved with this property. That's my opinion.
The health department indicated that if your site for where your well is going to be is within 800 feet of a known contaminant, that you most likely will have to go down to the second aquifer. And if it proves out even worse, then you would have to have that well encased in either, rather than just in the mortar type, it would have to be into a steel casing, which adds the price of the well in. foundations would have to have a special lining around so that you wouldn't get any seepage of contaminants into the crawl. The groundwater supposedly is only 3 feet onto the ground, and if you put a 5-foot crawl space in, you're gonna have a water problem. It can be addressed. Now, all of these issues can be addressed. It just inflates the cost in the beginning before any structure gets put on there. They do have a rather intensive, the health department has an app that you can see an aerial view, and it posts all the different contaminants or open areas, drain pipes and tanks that are in the ground or not on the ground or where they were. And you can see it all throughout a Lincoln where there's possibility of a problem. They know, for example, where the flower building was, that well, that was a relatively new one, had to go to those same groups where they put in a deep well and use steel casings to protect it. Like I said, it isn't that it can't be done, it just increases the cost factor, even though the property was being given. There's a lot of things to consider, even if you go to the baseline to find out if there's any, then if there is, and it's beyond the reasonable levels, you have to then go for the next stage and so forth. And all you're doing is adding more dollars to the cost of it. I don't know, that's a lot to think about.
You know, if I could say one more thing, I mean, I'll go on record that I have no doubt that our veterans deserve a building. They need to have the space. They need that. It is just my opinion that this site is not a site that it's just not a good site. There's got to be other places available. And there's just, again, there's just no way I would put Elkhorn County into that shape of being responsible for that type of property. So that's what I think.
Else?
I think they've said it all.
All right, let's this is the big deal. We'll do a roll call.
What, can we get some motion again, please?
Motion to approve
Motion to
phase
phase 1 and phase 2 with second series.
Thompson,
No.
Small,
No.
Reggie,
Yes.
Brumman,
No,
Gothier.
No. All right, motion is defeated. Next item. On 213 budget amendment. Carol, give us a little bit of a background on this, if you would.
Ambulance service, we had a meeting with them, in regards to a few items. Their gas and oil expenses were estimated to be 14,300 more than what was actually budgeted. The telephone, there were some other lines of service that he didn't originally anticipate for. Garbage removal was a little bit more than anticipated. And when the approval of the board for the principle of the new chassis, we were in a meeting with the ambulance director and we went through to find funds to cover that. It came out of the ALS cardiac monitor, so the contract was budgeted appropriately. We took the money out of that to cover the chassis at the time. That had to get put back. He does have a fund balance of 228,270,86 for the rest of the year. So taking 27,666, transferring in from the fund balance to cover those expenses is what we're looking at, which increases the bottom line $27,666,000, making a balanced budget at 440,805.
I'll make the motion to do that.
I'll support.
Moved and supported. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call please.
Small,
Yes.
Brumman.
Yes.
Reggie,
Yes.
Gothier.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Let's go to 267.
Oh, slide in that 267 fund now. Sheriff.
Well, needed to count. On fund 267. Oh, shoot. Sorry.
267 is the sheriff.
Yeah.
Motion would be to,
Two separate motions. I think.
There's only one was just a transfer fund. And the second one was, or the first one is the one that needs to be changed.
Sorry, the second.
The second one was just the operational line item transfer. And that was completed upon his request.
so the motion is to increase the bottom line to 13,000 by 13,942. As a result of some unclaimed drug forfeiture sales.
I'll make that motion.
Support.
Who is supported? Any other discussion? Roll call please.
Reggie,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Gothier.
Yeah.
Thompson.
Yes.
That would be the result ones while we're there.
Let's do in finance report.
Okay.
We'll do Carol's too. Next up, EDC committee requests.
Yeah, we have a request. I gave everybody a copy of it, but we have a request from our EDC committee. And I can read this too. EDC Harrisville Harbor study details. A group of local citizens are working with the city of Harrisville Harbor Commission, and Edgewater Resources out of St. Joseph, Michigan, to explore options for constructing an ADA compliant fishing and recreational pier in the Harrisville Harbor. Harrisville has lacked this type of resource and sadly has paid the price and lost opportunities for salmon stocking, recreational grants, and community reputation. For $4,800, Edgewater Resources will present 3 concept alternatives, cost estimates, and implementation strategies. They will also present the pros and cons of each alternative and possible funding sources. These options may include fixed or floating piers and or cantilever shoreline structures. Edgewater can complete this effort within 6 weeks of payment. The Harrisville Harbor Commission has approved and obligated $2,400, and they were looking for another partner for $2,400. Our EDC committee, the EDC committee has interest in being a local partner and making a nominal economic development investment of $2,400 for the harbor study, which could result in better recreational fishing opportunities with potential measurable economic development returns for the county. Our EDC committee has approximately $23,775.77 in the budget, and that would make a motion for the commissioner's approval of the $2,400 expenditure for this project.
Who's supported? Any other comments?
Doug, you got anything to say about it?
No, it's just one of the one of the few economic development opportunities that's come across since we've been working here for 2.5 years. And I think it's important to point out that this is an effort that could have effect throughout the county when we start doing people flying down 72 with the boats and pontoon boats behind them. The fishing is important. And I think the thing that did this for me was a letter that came from the guy named Frank Christ, who is on a Lake Huron Fishery Advisory Committee, and talked about what a bad reputation we had here for any kind of recreational fishing. And that sort of struck me as a good reason and a good project for us to get behind. While there's no guarantees, you got to start with what's possible. And that's what this study is about, and the Harbor Commission is funding 2,400, but that is a city of Harrisville investment. So I think it's well worth it for the EDC to get behind this and let the study happen. We'll get the results and we'll see what they have to say. And they're gonna also point to funding if we find that there's a couple of these options that are viable. So I think it's a good opportunity, and it's it's good to have us be doing things other than broadband too.
All right, there's a motion on the floor. This is a spend money, so roll call.
Small,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes,
Reggie,
Yes.
Gothier.
Yes.
What else you got, Dan?
Doug, do you want to talk about the Connect Nation proposal?
Sure. With EDC?
Sure.
Oh,
Well, that comes under EDC.
oh, okay.
And ARPA will be, it's really the same thing.
A couple of things, because your previous conversation about the ranked order of what's going on here. I think, Adam, you have an updated proposal for the LOI in front of you right now to be signed.
It's on my desk.
Okay. The pentameter of this is slow because it has to go through two committees at Presque. It has to go through the broadband committee and then has to go to their official public board of directors. So we lost a little time because one of the board of directors, when he reviewed it, wanted some word changes. Nothing was substantive. No parameters of the agreement or the letter had changed. It was just calling it an agreement, a letter of agreement, or a letter, and not calling it an agreement, so to speak. The LOI is just, dipping our toe in the pool. And so we had to let those changes happen. So they will approve that at their September 26th meeting. I believe it is 26th or 27th, I'm not sure. And if that's the case, then we are on to the next step. And the next step is creating the MOU. The next step in there with that is something I've been foreshadowing for over a year here. It was time that we employ a consultant. Because what's going to start happening here is as we move down the road with Presque, all things pointing north, we want them in a position where they can start using or looking for funding for the county build. So that's really important here. It's a kind of a critical step. And if you noticed in, I think it was the Scotia News or something, developed IOSCO just hired a consultant for the same reasons. They've hit a point now where they know that there's funding available, public-private, and for to position the county for that money, we have to have somebody who can shepherd that process. All the while, we're watching over it, we're making sure that everybody's getting what they need, but it requires a lot more expertise than we have. I mean, they have hired guns done. We don't. So we're going to need a consultant. So that particular proposal is by the same group that did the mapping project. They know the county backwards and forwards, which is going to be a big benefit when it comes time to talk to providers. And you're familiar with the Chip Span and his son, and Chip has moved on to another project. But he recommended a gentleman within Connected Nation that's every bit as good as he is. And everybody down the line from Tom Stevenson all the way down has approved that. So at this point, we're at a point where it's time to start putting our money where our mouth is, so to speak, I guess.
Well, one of the first big opportunities for money is November here, right? One of the first opportunities for money is November, isn't it?
For money.
State, I think the state.
I think so, but we have to put together an MOU yet.
Right.
That's going to work for both the county and for Presque. That's going to take a little time. That's more like a real agreement. So, and they're going to be able to assist us if you look at their service agreement and the things they provide. They're going to help us a great deal in that part of the process.
Okay.
So, I think the number is 49.5.
Right.
And we can sign, if we all agree, we can sign that and get them under our wing and ready to hit the ground running. So.
Yeah, I would assume that we really don't want to get this until we make sure that LOI.
Oh, yeah. I'm saying at the end of September,
Yeah.
When the LOI gets finally signed up there, then we should be prepared and ready to do this.
And I think everybody like made a copy for everybody on the Connect Nation also. So you have time to review it and go over and then be able to ask any questions or anything like that coming up. But
Yeah, feel free. I mean, go over it. I actually went over it already and had them change a few things that were. It struck me as boilerplate that I wouldn't want to put the county in that position. So, and Tom Michael's already looked this agreement over as well. So, yeah.
Is it too early to try to have some kind of meeting with township officials?
Let's get the LOI signed and let's get the consultant under contract. And then we can go out in sort of in a single messaging way. And you know, Tom Stevenson and his group are raring to go. There is a group that's been sort of loosely formed here between Alcona County, IOSCO, developed by IOSCO, about having some sort of a broadband meeting where providers are represented. And I also talked about this several months ago, that at some point, the ones that are going to be interested or seem to be in line for RDOF money and all the things in this territory are going to want to talk to us. So that's still important, regardless of where we are with Presque right now.
Okay. Anything else?
nope, that's it.
Thanks for coming down.
Well,
Appreciate it.
we got it.
That takes care of new business, I believe.
Yep.
Moving on to the finance report.
We have a couple things that need approving. We need a modification in our 240 budget. That we increase $2,000 for no new total of $119,025. And this we place in the revenue line item 240,000,699. That's 00, and in expenditures line item 240,261,941,000. And this is for removing money from their fund balance into expenditures for a new computer and the shoe extension services.
Is that the motion?
Yeah.
Moved and supported.
Is it done call?
You ask you to move some
Money from fund balance.
money from fund balance. Okay,
You're gonna end up with an unbalanced budget because you don't have anything, you didn't increase the expenditure.
oh,
I didn't get a copy of that.
Well, this right here is.
I think at around 7,000.
what expenditure?
But if you're moving money in from fund balance,
It's gonna equal,
you have to you have to add 2,000 to the expenditure as well.
We did.
Yeah, that's it. You might, you probably haven't seen that. I was just.
Okay.
That makes sense.
I didn't get the email, so whatever you can do, it's fine, I'll get it done, thank you.
okay, is there a motion? Did we get a second on that already? Yeah, oh yeah, we got a motion a second, all right, and no other discussion, we'll do roll call.
Okay, Gothier,
Yes.
Reggie,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Mock.
Yes.
Let me ask you this, Sharon, we have another, that just came in, operation line transfer in the building department, or John wants to get the computers replaced there.
I sent an email to everyone involved. What she wants to do, she either has to lower her budget or increase it on both sides, which she did not do in the emails that were sent to me.
Okay. Then I'll get with her and make sure it's not. That would be it. Finance.
Okay.
Finance. You?
Nope. Moving on to personnel, still closed session, okay. Treasurer's report.
We had our pet sale yesterday. We had a total of 11 10 properties. They were all sold. We do have one issue with a property description on one of them that we had. It was brought to our attention yesterday midway through the sale. We're looking into that. may or may not have to cancel that sale. And we didn't have an opportunity, it was brought to our attention at the time the sale was going on. We have 30 days in order to cancel the sale, so we'll be doing some investigating into that. Everything, the chain of title was appropriate, there was just a description error in the legal description that we need to do research on, that we weren't aware of until yesterday. So we sold 10 lots. We had the 2 in Harrisville that were connected, because they were contiguous, we sold them as 1 lot. We have, I don't know if it's, we had minimum bids of 18,166.42, and the total sales were 329,850. And as I mentioned a few weeks ago, we had 1 claim that was filed appropriately for the proceeds, and it just happens to be on the one that we that has a question with the legal description. So we'll be looking into that, and other than that, we had our September required notices sent out, and we are down to 149 property taxes that are in the forfeiture process, down from the original 1,400 that we had turned over back in 2012. So we're hoping everybody redeems. There are a few things that were sent out, and I think we're talking about them like after the meeting in regards to a few different funds. I am asking the 241 budget, the ACCOA. The original budget was not appropriated correctly, and there needs to be some modification on that. And I would ask if you want to handle that, or if you would like me to look at that and get that corrected.
Well, it'd be a function of finance. Yeah. You make a recommendation to finance, that'd be.
Okay, it's a board decision, so this is the tax dollars that came in, it was just not budgeted appropriately. And I didn't know if one of you guys wanted to handle it as a board member, or.
Well, what's finance to do?
Okay,
What is that for site? Just,
it's not gonna change the bottom line, it was, it
What we
actually
talking?
is, 195,000 wasn't budgeted. There were 2 millages, and when the original budget came out, we have 2 different millages, one was increased, and then there was the other one that wasn't accounted for.
Right.
So whoever got the total for the ACCOA millages, it was stuck into 1 line as opposed to 2.
oh,
But there wasn't enough because the second millage was increased.
that's okay. That's what we were doing. Budgets at the end of last year. Okay.
And the
I think that
budgets
was-
were
I
all
think that was me.
sent to finance. I'm just saying it needs to be fixed.
Yeah, we'll fix it.
All the budgets were sent to all the different departments and finance, and they'll all be returned to finance. The due date was asked to be the 15th, which gave 2 weeks, and then we will start meeting with the different departments at the end of the month to get our budget set for 2023. That's all I know.
Exciting.
I heard 1 response, and that was all I've gotten. I don't know if you guys have responses
I'll
from
send
any
a follow-up.
department.
I'll send a follow-up today.
Okay, perfect. Does anyone have any questions of me?
Not me. Anybody else? Thanks, Cheryl.
Yeah.
How about the clerk's report?
Stephanie and I attended the annual clerks conference last week, which turned out to be really informative. We actually had a really good turnout. There was over 60 clerks out of the 83. So that was nice that we got to attend that. Right now, we are preparing to review the proof ballots for the November general election. And I have a late communication that came from a concerned Mitchell Township resident about the Jarlis Road. So, that is happening. And that's all we have.
Okay, thanks. Okay. Street for another day. Moving on, there's communications, everyone in your packet, the browser your leader. Committee reports.
Yeah, I attended the district health with Dan and also a mental health meeting. Was kind of a question and answer thing, but I represented the mental health board. They have a evaluation. And one someone up here. I have a meeting tomorrow with mental health and that's it.
How about you, Dan?
Just give me an update on the old pharmacy here in Harrisville. District Health is moving right along. The building's been completely gutted out. They now have another contractor in the basement that is, they are cutting lines or cutting around the whole perimeter of the basement. Concrete, installing stone, drain tile, to get it all drained properly. And as one of the members of the board, I'll be meeting next Tuesday with Corey Upper and Mike Russo to start the drawings of the remodeling of the inside, and they will get them to the building department for the approval. So they're moving right along with that building. It's going to be a great asset to Harrisville, and it's going to come out really nice too. It's pretty amazing once it's got it out exactly what's there, and so it's a good thing. That's all I have.
Okay, how about you, Bill?
Well, I went to the ACCOA meeting. There was a lot of discussion about the direction they're going, particularly with the property on housing and versus senior center. There was a big discussion on funds being used at the fair auction for animals, and they basically brought it to Dan O'Connor suggested that they check with the auditors to make sure that the direction that the funds would be paid out of would be correct. They're very upset on the method, but they moved it to the auditors to see where they fall. Went to the library board. They did bring in a new board member, which we approved last meeting. And the Thunder Bay Transit, they're doing quite well. The department head Angie is running it, and she's been going out and making contracts with quite a few different organizations, including churches, where they're doing pickup and delivery of seniors. So they're moving ahead up there. They're going to get their roof redone because they had it done once and it was bad. It leaked, and it's taken them years to get through the law and through the court system. And they finally have somewhat settled on an arrangement, so they'll get new roof and two other things actually will take with it, but they're moving forward.
That's it. Thanks. Carolyn.
The Henry said board meeting that would have been held this Monday was postponed until next Monday, as always is on holiday. 911 had their compliance review. It went quite well, apparently. They interviewed, among other things, they interviewed the board chair and some of the employees. We also review and look at all the equipment that they have. It is they did verbally, they were told they did very well, and the written report will come out probably in 45 to 60 days or so. In talking with the V-Viper, which is one of the phone systems, the upgrades and replacements, one of the comments that was provided to Jeff Brackett was that Alcona is being very proactive as they move forward, and they are ahead of most smaller departments that are our size or slightly larger, that we are doing better than most of them, which is always good to hear. Emergency food and shelter, we will be having our meeting on Monday. We did not have any entities that applied for the funding. The criteria for getting it has become so difficult, and the amount has become so small that really it's hardly worth it. But it will probably end up being utilized through United Way with pop-up pantries within the county in various places. And that was the primary things I worked on.
Thanks. All right, that's it for committee reports. Our last section of public comment, 5 minutes, state your identity and your township.
I'm Tony, the Veterans Affairs Director. I'm a little disappointed because that isn't what the new business was, the BEA. That was just, showing you guys, you asked for some information. The bottom line is, are you gonna accept the property or you're not gonna accept it? We need to make it official and move on. You can turn down all the BEAs, whatever, but it doesn't change the fact, are you gonna accept the property or you're not? That's all I have to say. It needs to be official so we can move on.
Thank you. Anybody else? Nobody in house, anybody online? Okay.
I have a question. There's a here in Dustin Township. I've been hearing about the housing development thing that the senior center is doing. And I'm questioning why they are handling the housing project. Is that just going to be for seniors? Or is that just low income housing?
If you would just hang out afterwards, I can talk about it, like
Okay, because if it's.
what I know.
Okay, if it's not gonna be just for seniors, then it seems to me that they shouldn't be handling the development of this project. So. Now, if Elkhorn County needs low income housing, I agree with that. But I don't think it's appropriate that the senior center should be the agency that is developing if it's not for seniors. So.
Thanks, Rosie.
I have one thing to add to.
Sure.
It would be helpful as you and the board, and especially Commissioner Thompson, if the ACCOA moving forward, if they could do like you guys. Videotape their meetings. Not everybody can go at 10 a.m. or 1 p.m. whenever they have it. Videotape. If you look at their website, it's very hard to find any of the information in the minutes in the last year, how they went about this process, how they got the architect, the building, the people they're contracting to build this, how they selected them. Many things hard to tell. There are no minutes. If we could go online and like you guys and see the discussion, there wouldn't be so many questions. So moving forward, especially if they proceed this way, having all their meetings videotaped and put online so that somebody could see would probably answer a lot of people's questions.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Well, I'll add one thing too about that.
Sure.
I was at the ACCO, at least at Harrisville Township, I was at the ACCO meeting. And I know that Bill mentioned that they were having trouble with a $3,000 purchase. There was a bit of contention about how that all came about. But my question was, if Mr. Avery has a problem with not doing research on a $3,000 project, how is he supposed to do enough research on a $12.5 million project? So that was a major question I had. Wait a minute, and he said it right at the meeting. I didn't do my research. I didn't know about all this information. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, then is he the right person? Even if it's not the right agency, is he the right person? If he can't handle a $3,000 purchase, can he do a $12.5 million project? So that was my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. There's some stuff over here.
Yeah,
There's some people that want to do.
yeah, I totally agree with you. And I firmly believe it's been long enough. And I would like to make a motion that that Alcona County does not move forward with the acquisition of the lot in Lincoln. Sorry.
Moved and seconded. Further discussion? Let's do a roll call.
Brumman,
Could you read the motion again? I want to make sure I'm hearing it correctly.
motion to turn down,
That Alcona County
Inclined to.
declines
That's what I thought.
the acquisition,
Yes.
allocation of the lot in Lincoln.
I'm sorry. Brumman,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Gothier,
Yes.
Brady,
No.
Thompson.
Yes. Okay, so now we'll do a 5-minute recess and do our closed session. Yeah, sure.
Is there a backup for the veterans building if they don't do that one? Is there a backup plan for another one, something now that they need a building?
Well, in spirit of public comment, I can talk about that later too.
Okay.
This is how it works. I apologize, I would think different. All right, so anyway, if that's it for comments, then 5-minute recess and then closed session.
Just when you're ready, there's, if you need a meeting done after, that was the email I got. My number is on the bottom. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
he's on your own, that's coming after you.
I did not. I'm not saying you're gonna lose. I'm not. I had no idea. Even that's not coming. It's all right. Next.
I saw that too. Oh, man. Oh, no, it's not, I never read that. Never read. Nash, roll call, please.
Mom.
Yes.
Thompson.
Here.
Gothier.
Yeah.
Brumman.
Yes.
Reggie.
Here. Make a motion to go into closed session.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor? All opposed, motion carries. Okay, so, we're back, roll call.
Scott here,
Here.
Brennan,
Here,
Reggie,
Here.
Small,
Here.
John.
Here. I'll make a motion to go back into open session.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Back in open session. Then we need a motion to approve personnel committee to go ahead with plans as discussed.
So moved.
Moved and supported. Roll call.
Tom,
Yes.
Brennan,
yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Reggie,
Yes.
Scott here.
Yes.
That's hard, wasn't it?
Yep, yeah. The additional comments or questions by commissioners? Hearing none, meeting adjourned until 2 weeks from today.